So, I'm going to talk about root cause analysis today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the intent of root cause analysis, some of the issues we commonly see with it, and a pattern we might be able to use to better address complexity. So root cause analysis was first conceived in the Toyota manufacturing plants in the late 50s. They came up with the 5 whys technique. It has since been adopted and tailored to other industries, including our own. So why do we do root cause analysis? We do root cause analysis to uncover the actual problems instead of just fixing the symptoms. So we're trying to prevent regressions. So when do we do root cause analysis? We do root cause analysis when an incident happens more than once, we have a regression, when an outage affects many users, or when a system isn't functioning as designed. It's not behaving as expected. So the 5 whys analysis that Toyota came up with, basically you start with a problem statement, you ask a series of why questions to drill down into the root cause. This is probably the easiest root cause analysis to do, and it's also the most popular in our industry. There are, however, some issues with it. So if you start with an incorrect or leading problem statement, you can really get off the rails quickly. Your whys will stop making as much sense, and you'll end up not even with an answer, but just confusion. It's also not repeatable. Different people will get different results. The same people will get different results depending on different days. Our systems are not static, they're dynamic, they're changing. The linear thinking of the whys going down really leads us to drilling into one root cause when in reality an outage or an issue usually has more than one root cause that is not human error. Due to the retroactive nature of root cause analysis, there's a couple of biases that really become problems. Hindsight and outcome bias, because we're looking in the past, we have all the benefit of hindsight. So what has changed? We have complex systems. We deliver change into them more quickly than ever. We start to see emergent behaviors. And root cause analysis, in my opinion, is not very well suited to complex behaviors. I think Cynefin, it's a Welsh word that means ecosystem, is really a better framework for complex systems that have high rates of change. It uses quadrants to identify behaviors by complexity and suggest a course of action. So this is what it looks like. We start in the lower right, and then you move counterclockwise. When a behavior you don't expect occurs, Cynefin asks you to organize it into one of these quadrants, and then you have a set of steps you can take to resolve the issue. As with any system, it's not static. You can work on it and make complex things more simple, but by default, they'll kind of degrade into complexity. So for example of each of these quadrants, a simple one is something that you expect to happen, and you've already put mitigation issues in place for it. Root cause analysis will work fine for simple problems. Complicated is when the relationship between cause and effect is separated usually by time or space. So you usually need expert analysis to figure out what's really going on there. As we get into complex, this is where we're really starting to get into emergent behavior, where you couldn't have predicted that this would happen. You try to trigger it again, and it may not happen again. Chaotic is where you really don't want to be. That's on the lower left of the quadrants there. That's when there's no relationship between cause and effect that you can tell. Cynefin proposes that you act first. You try to change the system in order to better understand it. Everything starts with disorder, I think, and it starts with a lack of agreement on the problem. This is like a low cooperation environment where you really need to reduce the scope of what you're talking about before you can agree and try to fix it. So my main takeaways are: be aware of the limitations of the root cause analysis techniques you use, that emergent behavior comes from complexity and increased rate of change, and continue trying Cynefin to help you manage your complex behaviors. Thank you.